story any percent and try to explain some of the lore about what's going on as we go here. So, normally when I do my files, I'm always very careful to choose one-letter names. However, in this particular instance, I am going to use the set name for our king, Orobo. So once I hit this yes button, we are going to start the timer, and we'll get going in 1, go. Alright, so we're going to enter the kingdom of Alpoco, a somewhat shabby kingdom established on a side of a river by a man named Hauser. Now, Hauser has been searching for the true king of Alpoco for the last 30-something years and has found a child to take the job. So, as we get things going, we can clearly see that there's not a lot going on in this kingdom here, but we have a few people. That's Hauser right there, the guy with the big beard. He's gonna first year of the Alpoco Kingdom. Now, right now, we have zero idea of how this kid got here, where he's from, who he is, and quite frankly, that's gonna stay there. But we know his name's Korobo. Now, in order to get this speedrun going, we actually have to establish the kingdom, which is what we're gonna go ahead and start doing. Throughout this run, we're gonna create various different professions for our citizens to actually do. However, for now, we have a bunch of free adults. So I'm going to be mashing through the text pretty quickly here. But essentially, it's just saying that the kingdom is here, peaceful, and here in the world. And a lot of spider webs. Actually, a lot of spider webs. Now, the first thing we have to do here is talk to our 3 characters. That's Hauser, this is Liam, and this is Verde. We essentially never use Liam, we'll use Hauser all of the time, and we'll use Verde a couple times. Now, right now, Hauser is going to inform me that we're broke, and we need to go ahead and recruit some of the treasure. That's exactly what we're going to do. Now, Liam is the anything minister. He is going to explain to us all the various mechanics of as a speedrunner of the game. I actually am pretty familiar with, so we don't have to worry too much. But, as we go, we're going to recruit my tier 3 adults here. Use them treasure. A little bit of foreshadowing here. There's a couple of rats that are running around there. They'll come in handy at some point. For now, we're going to go ahead and use Korobo's treasures to pick up some treasure. Now, the treasures are in the same places every time. So ordinarily, you'd be running up and down, looking up holes that are empty, pulling up bushes that don't have under it. For our purposes, though, we know now that we have all of our precious treasure here, we get in. Now, I have no idea where this money is coming from, if I'm you. However, we're going to exchange it for 100,000 boy POI. Now, what we're going to do with it is trade it in to build the farmer hut. Because farmers are probably, aside from soldiers, the most useful profession in this game. They dig things quickly, they break up obstacles real quickly, and we're going to need them to invade the turnip forest next. But for now, Hauser is content with what's going on, and it's time for us to go. So on our next day, as I just said, we're actually going to go ahead and dig up some turnips, because as it turns out, although we made a lot of money from the treasure hunt, we didn't make very much money at all. Alright. So we're going to cut immediately down left. A lot of what I do is try to find the possible that I can do this. And we're going to run out here to grab some of those carefree adults and turn them into farmers. Hardworking farmers. I just said farmers are actually breaking up wood and other obstacles, so they're going to make for here. Now, one of the fun parts about this game is that there's actually a lot of RNG choke points in the section. What I mean by RNG choke points is, there are just instances where RNG take the run away from you. I'm going to try to be doing some things to negate that from happening. So one of the first problems that we can run into early is lack of funds. Really in the form of not digging up enough treasures in this early section. So what I'm going to be doing is try to break up some extra stuff here so I can get enough money. There is zero reason getting a split in this type of capacity. Now over here, we go into the turnip forest here. Now, Corbo has an attack called the Scepter attack, and it's an extreme attack. But what you're going to see, for the most part, is it's going to be in a very low capacity. So far, every additional thing that I have tried to break up for additional, not giving me, I'm actually just wasting. That's alright. So, go ahead and finish turnips. Now, a lot of this type of game, ever played Little Toon Story before, which I don't really blame you if you haven't, should really be very reminiscent of Pikmin. Except, really, unlike Pikmin, there is no carrying back of treasures to anywhere. You're just kind of running into them to, like, absorb them into some basically infinite... I will say, for all of our fine viewers here, we are getting some actually really terrible RNG right now for treasures, so we're going to see how this works. We need at least 1,290 boy at the end of this, or 1,300 total, I should say, so... Jump back to the... how we fared. I am a little scared here. Let's see. Okay. Wow, that was a lot of money, actually. We got a lot of good items. Fun. Alright. So we build the guardhouse. So, right now, Hauser is telling us that really our kingdom is puny and insignificant. His words, not mine. So what he's going to do is tell me to go to bed, because I am still ultimately a child in this. Come up in the morning, he's going to have a grand suggestion of how we could take this puny and set it into the 21st century. So let's see what Hauser came up. I don't have a ton of... been wrong. Okay. We built the town square, and we are ready. Medieval Pikmin, right? I like that. See, I've never actually played Dokkopan Kingdom. Red Optimus. So I said dead Optimus. Kinda hard. So, now that we've built our town square and our suggestion box, our citizens running up... box. Now, personally, I'd be a little scared to go out at night and my nothing guarding it other than a bunch of farmers. Right here, is going to go ahead plus that we have a full suggestion box, which I'm going to go ahead and say is not true because it can hold 50 letters and it has 3. However, okay, well, how are you going to laugh at me? Because, come on, stop talking. That was not supposed to happen. Alright, so the suggestion box here, we're going to open up 2 letters and pull up the graveyard room. Now, in this graveyard rumor, there's actually something called Cow Bones. Cow Bones is our first boss that we're going to go after, and it's...
Yeah, so the super is very fun. It occurs when you open the world map screen during King Turbo's Scepter. When the map screen opens, there's a delay in the flag that turns off the attack, resulting in a successful attack. Unfortunately, this cannot be used during boss fights, as the pause menu is disabled during. It is also interesting to note, during the Scepter attack, Turbo's collision becomes temporarily removed. This will be very important later on in the run.
Thank you, thank you. Alright, so here is our friend Cow Bones. And let's see how we do. I'm only going to go for one of those, because it's really not necessary to go for both. Alright, for some reason my voice cuts out here and there. I'm sorry about that. It's probably because I'm talking a little bit low. Alright. That was actually a really good Cow Bones. Alright, so you guys just have to let me know if this is actually any better at all. Hopefully it is. So, what's happening after we defeat Cow Bones is that we go to sleep, and mysteriously, the area that Cow Bones once occupied is going to be clear and in possession of our kingdom. Alright, so next up, Hauser is actually going to go ahead. I am really good at running past Hauser, or my kingdom, my throne to go to Hauser. So he's going to really ask me if I want to stop the festival, and I go ahead and stop it. Because there's really nothing I can do during it. You can't recruit citizens, you can't go outside of your kingdom, you really can't do anything, quite frankly. Now, the first time I ever played through Little King's story, I was extremely perplexed by the cutscene we're viewing here. It's Liam and Hauser in the dead of night through some sort of telescope setting up like a sign of some sort saying that this is going to help bring us closer to our goal. Now I'm going to be honest with you, as soon as I saw this I was like, oh, there's got to be something about those two. And it would be really, really cool if there was, but I haven't actually found any connection here. So, sorry about that. So, what's going to happen is one of many cutscenes in this game that there is no way to skip, there's no way to fast forward through. Normally for speedrunners, that's not such a good thing. But for lots of lore, this is going to be lots of lore. So right now, Hauser, who, remind you, has been searching for the true king for the last 35 years, is going to give us a lesson in world geography. And there is nothing that I can do to narrate Hauser's cutscenes to make them better than they are. They're very varying from bumbling to hilarious. So, enjoy. So in all world maps, you must include a picture of a cow. If you're not including a picture of a cow, like, what are you doing? So we are going to go ahead and be introduced to the Oni. The Oni are like the quintessential enemy of this game, kind of like Super Mario's Goombas in a way. So right now, the Oni are living on the other side of this river, and we have to go over there and unify the entire world. Which, I'll be honest with you, would be a remarkably boring speedrun if that was the case. But, for right now, we're going to go and unify the world. Now, I am going to save my progress here, because, well, there's a lot of fun stuff that tends to happen here. So, before we get too excited, though, I am going to jump out and grab one of the suggestions. Now, I'm opening these couple random letters to make room for letters in the future, but that's the last I do of that. I accept another Guardian request for Yvonne the Giant Frog, and then I buy 3 guard badges, because the more Royal Guard members I can have, the better. Okay. Let's see. Lots of ore. I like it. Alright, so to go into Yvonne, we are going to deal with, like, I like to call it carefree RNG, and it's where the heck do the carefree adults appear? Because I have to recruit them and turn them into farmers, and it's really hard to do that when they don't show up. So right off the bat, we have one of the carefree adults here, which is good, but I didn't really see any others. So as I run directly into a light post, they start appearing a little bit more readily, which is good. Cool. Now, I actually don't need that one, because over here is a guard post that's occupied by a soldier. Alright. Let's see if we can get this to work. This is finicky, and I haven't really come up with a consistent spot to make this work. Nice. The hitbox for that stump, like, just extends far enough out to make that work. You can get 1 extra one. Alright, so here's Yvonne the Giant Frog, the biggest of her kind, but not the only. So she has that giant old tongue that can just snap up and eat one of your guard members, but she hardly uses it. Ah, didn't work. Nope. So that's really what you normally expect to see from the Super Scepter glitch, is a few failures. And unfortunately, it does kind of kill time whenever you fail the glitch. Yeah, so this is normally the fun challenges of this speedrun. Now, luckily, Corbo, the Super Scepter glitch becomes a little less important as the run goes on, because if this was the entire run, I would be probably not running this category or game, but we just kind of muscled our way through Yvonne the Giant Frog, and I'll take it. I missed every Super Scepter that entire fight. That is like a 30-second variance, by the way, of hitting those or not, so it's like kind of cool. Alright, so now that we've gotten Yvonne, we're actually going to get a pretty hefty payday from her, and that treasure is going to be worth a whopping 3,000 boy, which we're going to use to buy some stuff. Some houses, which will give us more citizens, and another profession, the Carpenter Hut. So the Carpenter Hut, well, as you could imagine, builds carpenters, or shall I say, produces carpenters, who then build some stuff. Now, those carpenters are going to be put to use right away, because anywhere you see a sign with a hammer on it means that there is some sort of construction project that's going to have to happen there. Now, we'll see how this goes, because I will be honest with you guys, this is the scariest split in the run. Why I say this is Oni Man is an interesting fight. It's a regular enemy, but it gets its own, like, mini-boss section here. And it requires you to dig up a treasure, because I need the money. That's a common theme in this run. I'm kind of broke perpetually. until all of a sudden money is no object later in the run, and then kill a boss, which normally involves a blind super scepter trick to do. However, unlike every other boss fight in this game, if you lose this one, you game over instead of get a continue yes or no screen. So I'm not taking any chances with this thing, and I'm going to bring in 3 soldiers where I normally bring in 1 to fight it, because, well, if I get game over, whatever amount of time we've been doing this for, probably roughly 20 minutes, give or take 45 seconds, is pretty much all in vain at that point, which I know people love 20-minute resets and speedruns. It's one of our favorite things about watching our favorite speedrunner streams, but we don't want that in a marathon. So I am willing to sacrifice a few seconds for this outdated and somewhat slower strategy. Now, I might as well mention this now because it's going to become an issue later at some point. When you're building construction projects, you cannot have enemies near your construction project because they will damage the construction project along with your carpenters. So if you saw me throw those soldiers right at the Oni standing there, it's because I didn't want him undoing it, because if they damage the construction project, they literally will undo it, which is not really a big deal, but things have a tendency to, like, add up really quickly in this type of setting, where if the construction project gets slowed down, then the enemies keep attacking, and then things get worse. So all of a sudden, we defeat out Oni Man right there. And again, no deaths is very important here. Now, what we're going to see after Oni Man is, somebody's going to have a little bit of an issue with what we just did, because we just took all that land from somebody. And again, I'm just going to let everybody react to these cutscenes exactly how they're going to react. I'm not going to give you any context except to say that this is the true flavor of Little King's story. So far, we have our citizens. Now, whoever shows up in this house is random. It just so happens all those guys were probably in the fight with me. As we're celebrating, this happens a lot. Honcho, Hauser's pet cow, comes charging into the castle with an urgent message or letter. Here it is. Now here's the thing. That's some harsh words right there. I don't stand well for El Poco being called El Jerko. The you suck thing I can kind of get behind because I did miss every Super Scepter glitch on Yvonne, so I kind of feel that one right now. But now, Hauser, upon realizing that we did not achieve world domination, starts to draw out a much larger world map. Now, the only thing... Now, we're always going to save because I think it's really good practice. We're not trying to impress anybody here. So, like normal, there'll be a celebration, but we're not going to have any celebrations. Nobody gets to have any fun or benefit here. Now, as we go to sleep and go into the next day, Liam is going to stop by to, I think, tell us how a bed works. I think he tells us how beds work first. So even though we've been using a bed this entire time, our friend Liam is going to show up and say, hey, this is a bed. If you go into the bed, you can go to sleep. And then comes running out. After that little fun distraction, we're going to jump in to our friend, the Kingdom Plan, and buy lumberjacks. Also, okay. We're going to go ahead and fight this Oni King.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Alright, this is going to be interesting. So what I actually have to do in this case is turn, I want to say, 3 of those guys into soldiers. I got a little too excited to introduce Skinny Ray, so I forgot. So here is the scientist Skinny Ray, who saw a big old mountain that he was really interested in occupying, waited till we went to sleep after taking over this land, and decided to move in. He wishes us luck on our world conquest, and then goes back to his studies. So anyway, because I am a forgetful tomato, I have to make these guys into soldiers. Okay. Now, we can go ahead. See, if we only had 3 soldiers, that would get very fun very fast, because we really need to start doing damage to enemies, and 3 is not going to cut it there. Now, with these 2 guys, we're going to go ahead and make buff lumberjacks, which they basically run around topless. I have a lot of appreciation for how ripped they are. Now, what these guys can do is pretty much make mincemeat out of wood in any capacity, which right off the bat, we're going to see here. Now, without a lumberjack, you could not do damage to this thing until it was broken like that. So it's very important to make sure that that's destroyed. Now, what I do in the meanwhile is get as far front as possible so I can lose the least time running. Now, the smaller wood takes less damage to destroy than the larger ones. I guess that's kind of common sense, but I figured I'd... Now, for the most part, you can ignore all of these enemies here, because in the amount of time it takes us to destroy the barriers, they usually don't come back in time, because these are not very high HP barriers here. So I basically ignore everything right up till these 3 guys, because this, they wind up just doing damage no matter what. Okay. And with that, we're going to go ahead and meet Oni King. Now, as you can see, there's a bunch of the Oni here that don't appear in this boss battle, because this would have been really cool. So here we are with the Oni King. Now, his special attack is launching those pots and those stumps that you're going to see in his hand at that point. Now, as he takes a deep breath and attacks, he requires us to charge into battle. Now, this battle is actually kind of difficult, but there is a very consistent way that I have kind of discovered on how to do this quickly. So this, if we're willing to just not try to jump the gun and let him do this first attack, we get a lot of room to do this next strat. So once that guy with that stump walks a little bit past that window, I'll throw... Oh, that's unfortunate. That's actually... I don't know if we're going to kill him there. I think we have him. Yeah, that was very close. A little unnecessarily close. So basically, when that... Normally what you're supposed to do for that attack is to, Sorry, for that boss, not attack, is to run up and attack him and try to get him to do like a loud, like, temper tantrum move, so the guy throw him and hits him in the head. But in that very brief window, he kicks his little leg. If you attack him early, you can get the Oni to throw it at his head and render him stunned for a minute. So with that, we actually rescue the first of the 7 women I'm going to capture and marry as a child. And don't worry, there's kind of some inappropriate references we're about to get here, but for now it's pretty tame. We meet Princess Apricot. Now, Princess Apricot, for a lot of reasons, is one of the most important characters in this game for the storyline. However, you'll find more out about that later. For right now, all we know is that whenever we defeat a king, there's a mysterious vase with a princess that we're going to capture, rescue, and make our wife. Now, I will be frank, this game is rated teen, because it does have some inappropriate references to it. This is the first one. The cats will stand for some more interesting stuff later. But for right here, right now, we're going to go ahead and move on to what I call Phase 2 of this game. And Phase 2 is going through Sunflower Plains and opening up the Bony Tunnel entry, where we're going to go ahead and find out about our next two kings. But for right here, right now, we're going to enjoy world domination. Again. The second time. Now, clearly, we can tell just from this cutscene, the castle has gotten a little bit bigger. As we stand here with Princess Apricot, we clap, we celebrate, and Pancho will have us a little bit of a message.
Professor Pancho! Who's Velso? Tenko, John Masalas, you holding up to Momo?
The world liberation. That's right. I like that a lot. Aluvixipede, we're gonna liberate the rest of the world. Now, this first letter that we're getting is a letter from the big-boned Shishki Baba Boo and an invitation to a party from the super party animal Duvrak, man. Now, just like Oni King, these kings are a little bit interesting, but we don't get a ton of information about them in this cutscene. But somehow, from those two letters he got, he actually finally has figured out how big the world is. I am not being sarcastic on this one. This is actually how big the world is. It's much bigger than we thought. In fact, he uses big in all capital letters there. Now, I will say, they almost, in this cutscene, put the kingdoms down in the order that is optimal to beat them in for the speedrun, with one little exception there, which I find to be pretty funny. But we are going to go ahead and go to Duvrak. But first, we're going to go ahead and just take part in some unapologetic capitalistic behavior here. So, while this game has like a very, very set things of what you actually need to do, there are a lot of optional things you can do, and one of them involves purchasing everything in the kingdom plan. One of the ways to expand your kingdom plan is to activate merchants to come to your kingdom and sell you goods. For the most part, the goods that they sell are pretty much useless for the speedrun. However, there is one crucially important item that, thank God, is really early on in the merchant chain of how many times you have to sit on your throne, called the jump cannon. What we're going to do is, as soon as Liam is done teaching us about how paintings work, we're going to run outside and we're going to get just one item that we can sell and jump right back to this castle to start activating some of the additional content to this game. Now, let's see if we get any fun RNG. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so we got one plant so far. I'm not kidding, sometimes those bushes don't spawn, and sometimes they all spawn but never have items in them. That's another RNG choke point of this run, in which the run just dies and there's nothing I can do about it. For the sake of the marathon, there is actually stuff that I could do backup strategy-wise to make it work, so I wasn't too worried about that choke point. So right here, we're going to go ahead and meet our friend Ginger, the Traveling Art salesman corridor? I don't know. Either still, he is going to be apologizing to us, the players, the viewers, because he had 100 pieces of artwork that he managed to misplace throughout the entire world. We're not going to get any of them for him. Not a single one this run. But regardless, the first bit of additional content is unlocking Ginger and all 100 of the paintings dispersed throughout the world. Which again, we will be ignoring all of them. I do apologize. Technically, there is one we can collect, but if we do, I did something really, really wrong, and we're gonna need to, like, reset the run or go to last save, so we'll get there. We'll get there when it comes. So we have to do that just 2 more times. I will be the first person to admit this is not the most stimulating part of this experience. Okay, come on. Oh, please, please don't do that. Really? Really? Yeah, I'm here. See, I was prepared for this to happen. Alright, so that is what would normally kill a speedrun. However, in this case, we can collect additional items from this here giant turnip, which will turn into some turnip warriors, which is why we don't do this early on in this game. And we are going to use that turnip to jump back to start and dash it. Oh, that's right. I have to be away from you. Yeah, so ordinarily, this is why the run would die, because that's actually really slow compared to just digging up the plants. So this would have been an instant reset. So you're entirely right on that observation. This would have been really rough. As long as I'm here. Okay. And the last thing we're going to do, because here's the thing, once we pull up all 4 of the bushes like that, even if that last one had an item in it, it wouldn't actually respawn, which is just beautiful. So what I do instead is I go ahead and I do something called Apricot's Quest here, where she just asks me if I will collect Wonder Spots for her. I say yes. She gives me a book of things I can collect Wonder Spots in, but also for going and talking to my wife at that point, she gives me 1 piece of candy, which I genuinely think is a good rule for all marriages and relationships. Whenever you converse, just give 1 piece of candy and it'll be fine. And now we're going to go ahead and activate the merchant with the jump cannon. Yeah, any speedrun that can just die 30 minutes into RNG is really, really rough, and there's like 2 more choke points coming up in the next like 20-25 minutes. Alright, anyway. So, now that we've done all of that, we're going to go ahead to the Kingdom Plan, and we're going to go ahead and buy out what we're supposed to buy out here. Alright. So certain items, Liam will come up and explain them to you, and will force you to quit out of the menu, so we have to just kind of mash through the text there and jump off. So now we have everything we need to go ahead and take on Duvrock at this point. We're just going to have to build up the Royal Guard a little bit. So right here, right now, we should have quite a few carefree adults that we're going to do. Alright, come on everybody. And if I call the full Royal Guard, how many people am I working with there? 15, 16... Okay. You will have to listen to that every single time I go to transport areas, so buckle up everybody, this is going to be a long one. And then we just need 1 more lumberjack for this. I don't really know what happened to my other lumberjack, but that's okay. He's having more fun right now. I feel like I just have too many soldiers, which is, like, kind of weird, but it's fine. They definitely do have too many soldiers. So, what that is that I plan to have 15 or 16 guards members because the chances of me collecting all 17 people in a timely manner is just not practical. So what I do there instead is if I run into any additional guards members on the way in, wonderful, I'll go ahead and use them. If I don't, I tend to just not. So I plan to have some extra jobs, but I don't plan to have them all be soldiers, which is kind of funny. But it doesn't matter, because if anything, they'll help us out later. So, we're just going to go ahead and just, as you'll see in a lot of other aspects of this run, I just run past the enemies, because they don't really matter. Ideally, if I was like playing the game and thoroughly going through each aspect, a lot of this stuff I would be taking my time to explore more, but in the speedrun, just a waste of time. Now also, you guys have probably noticed that there are some giant boulders that we were kind of akin to that giant, like, stump that the lumberjacks broke up. Now, there are miners in this game, but we're not going to use them. If anything, we're going to use some silliness to get around having to use them whatsoever. So one of the challenges here is managing these enemies, because as I said, they can attack the bridge, which is very bad. Now that frog is going to be... Wow, where is he aiming? He was trying to pick up a person in the water? You know what? He knew we were in a marathon and didn't want to kill like 12 of my citizens, so he just kind of left us alone. And for that, we thank you, Mr. Frog. Alright, here's a scary part of all of this. Alright, that's not the scary part, guys. The scary part is when we deal with the rocks, because, as I just said, we don't have miners in this game because we don't actually use them or collect them. So we're going to have to kind of rely off of Corbo Glitch and Brute Force, which is not a great combination to rely off of, I'm going to be honest with you. Now, these Oni rings, or the Onion rings, if you will, which is their actual name, I am, like, doing that. Alright, fine. Are pretty much completely indestructible as long as they're orbiting something, which they are right now. But I use Corbo to kind of distract the pot, or the rock throwers, I should say, away from me so they don't damage him. This is a scary situation right here. I normally don't fight this guy, but I feel like I'm going to make an exception because I feel like he could be a really dangerous foe. Alright, that was not the cleanest I've ever done that, but nobody died, which is the really important thing for the health of the speedrun. So right now, because we have our cow cannon, and that's a really long walk, we can actually build a cow cannon out here. Now, normally this takes a long time because the game doesn't account for you having, you know, like 7 carpenters to do this, but we do. Now, soldiers can't help with the project because they'll actually start attacking the project and making it lose health, which is not what we want to have happen. Alright. If I do this right, nobody should take damage. I did that right. Did not do that right. Guys, they are struggling. And you got the farmer. Okay, well, that's probably not good. So that farmer is supposed to dig up a hot springs to heal my army before this boss fight. And the farmer just got eaten by the frog, which kind of means I can't do that right now. However, we're really just going to pretend like everything's going to be fine, because I think my army has enough HP in general to do this. But this is what we call, everybody, just hold your breath and see what happens, because I really don't know if that's enough health to pull off this strategy. Anyway, here is Duvrak, our super party animal friend. So the Oni are, like I said, kind of just universal citizens pretty much everywhere until later game. So really, what I like to imagine is that the Oni were living here, and this guy Duvrak shows up with like crates and crates of beer. And we're like, hey guys, you should really drink some of this. Now, Oni are not humans, okay, so hear me out. I really don't think the Oni are getting drunk by this. I think Duvrak is the only one who's intoxicated here. Because the Oni are pretty much just acting normal, they're just chilling and vibing. Duvrak's doing all of this. I think Duvrak is just getting drunk and the Oni really enjoy just watching him and vibing with him. And quite frankly, that's what we look for in a leader. I'd like him to put on a shirt. I'm not quite willing to vote for him for leader of my respective area because he's topless. But with a shirt, I think he'd be a lot more convincing because I dare you to tell me you've seen a beer belly this magnificent. Anyway, so let's all play the game, hold our breath, and see what happens with this boss fight. So what we're going to do is attack the crates of beer that he's standing on and try to use the soldiers that I have to interrupt his attack animation. Now, every time the soldiers get kicked off of his back, they take 1 damage. So I try to really minimize the amount of the soldiers I use at the beginning fight here, because you really don't wind up doing a ton of damage to him by the time the guys smash the crate of beer on the bottom here. Especially because I'm trying to be a little conservative with HP. Alright, all of his beer cans are smashed, so it is time to just beat him up. And if he starts attacking, I just... Whoa, okay, he's going for it. Alright, guys, come on. Hey! Fine. We only killed like 12 people during that fight, but as long as you keep doing damage to Duvrak, he will go down. Which I'm gonna need a little bit of time here to just explain to all of you guys what is about to happen to us. We're gonna go into a boss called Shishki Babu, which if you think RNG-based resets 30 minutes in are bad, imagine a brand new game mechanic that is used one time, just being thrown at you, and it's really hard and really buggy. It's gonna be a big old pinball game. So here's the thing. You basically have next to no danger to deal with going into the Shishki Babu fight, other than, well, him being baked into a gingerbread house. We'll get into that later, but here's the thing. For right here, right now, we're gonna rescue my second wife and just pretend like we're not going into my least favorite part of the run. Because we are. Alrighty. So... we just always have to collect the king's treasure because we just perpetually kind of need cash through the beginning hour and a half of this run. Now, as far as Shishki Babu goes, back to that. When you attack the gingerbread house he baked himself into, or others baked him into, we're kind of unsure of this one here, what's going to happen is 4 Oni on Poco Sticks are going to come out. This is where Super Scepter is really important. Because if I can break through this gingerbread house quickly, it's all good. It doesn't matter. If I can't, they're going to start doing a lot of damage before I enter a really hard boss fight, which could make it really difficult. I expect to have to reset, because this is where like 95% of my runs die to. But because in this game, it's very fortunate like this. Once you die and have your reset, you just reset at the start of the boss fight, as opposed to the start of the save. It's really nice because it makes the whole boss fight I'm about to go into, like, way less stressful. But now, I've just defeated my second of 7 kings. Now, each and every time I defeat a king, we go into this cutscene. For now, every time I've defeated a king, some massive revelation has come out. Well, you're not quite getting this. All you're going to get here is an earthquake. Just an earthquake. For all of my friends in the northeast of the United States of America, we got a 4.8 magnitude earthquake the other day. Caused like 10 whole collective seconds of shaking. It was terrifying. No, it wasn't. But anyway. As we're going to go ahead and celebrate the defeat of Duvrak, we see this little earthquake here. Now, right where we just were, right behind that rock, is a tunnel. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's a tunnel. And there's booze bottles and cake and ice cream and strawberries blocking it. Well, the booze bottles just popped out, so that's good. Alright. So now it's time for Shishki Babu. I'm not going to get into this debate too hard because I don't think it's a necessary debate to do that much. But, like, here's a question I have for you guys as we start going into the Kingdom of the Ripe. They're going to be just cakes and Oni's throwing more cake. Where does the cake come from? Seriously, are they making it in the kingdom? Are they importing it from somewhere else? If so, where are they importing it from? I kind of want to know your thoughts, but I'll let you guys see it and react to it in real time. So, actually, for once, there's nothing I do kingdom, like, plan or suggestion box-wise. I just kind of run out and recruit people. So what we're going to try first is the cultivation team, because I feel like there's a lot of those guys were the deaths.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Alright. How many do I have? Question.
Yeah.
That's not enough. Production team. No, it would have to be battle team. I'm not thinking very smart right now. Sorry, guys. Alright, because yeah, here's kind of the thing, like, I just have to have a full army for this boss fight because I need all hands on deck, so to speak. Okay, now we got everybody and we're going right in. Now, I throw a couple of carpenters off to the side because they are actually better at breaking through the gingerbread house, so I just want them to use their high HP stuff to break through that gingerbread house. And, here we go. Also, for everybody who's coming in on the raids, welcome to the last run of really lots of lore. Little King Story, any percent. We got about 2 hours left of run for you, so I hope you enjoy. So as I break through these cakes over here, I begin to think that whoever is running this kingdom might be pretty focused on food. That's just my thought. Because it's like whoever was running the last kingdom was really focused on alcohol. So this is, I guess, kind of the food version of that, I suppose. Alright. So again, I ignore a lot of the stuff here because I don't think it's really worth doing. And here comes the single scariest thing in the run. Let's do this. Okay. So what I'm going to do in this case, believe it or not, is I'm going to just make these guys kind of go backward a little. And then I'm going to come in and start doing more damage. Well, it's really unfortunate, because those actually make those carpenters stop attacking that. Wow, this is, like, really messy. So the big important thing is that I don't take damage with the king, because that's the scary part that can actually really mess with you. And I'm losing citizens at this point. Finally. Alright, this is going to be interesting. I don't think I took damage with Korobo, but I definitely beat up my Royal Guard a little bit. So this might take more than one attempt here, but I did allot that in for my estimate time, so we're going to see what happens, guys. That's all I'll do. I'm not gonna make everyone that hot and bothered at the end of the marathon. No one needs that. So if I hit that Super Scepter glitch before all of that madness unfolded, we'd be in a lot better of a position, and TCB Trio would be a lot less scared than he is right now. As far as this whole thing goes, the big important part of this pinball game, do not let Shishki Bamboo past you, and do not let him hit you. But you throw your kingdom members out to poke him back up, and everything he hits into makes him lose some weight. We're going to bring him down from 1,500 kilograms to 50 kilos. Any luck? Gonna need it. Okay, that was a weird start, but I'll take it. And he hit me. Alrighty, whatever. Now I just have to be a little bit more careful. Sometimes the Shishki fights that are the worst starts actually turn out to be the best. I say that as I just killed 3 people. So when he hits that Oni with the sign, he actually turns it into nighttime, and it allows me to throw my soldiers up this little runway here, and that's going to let them attack this rock, which we're really going to want broken because that's going to expose a fork. Once I get him down to size, I can actually pop him on that fork. And that's like kind of the whole goal of this entire boss fight. I don't think that this is going to be the one. I just personally don't see this with a high level of success here. But you always play out Shishki because a lot can... What did I just get hit with? Alright guys. So, like I said, I accounted for this to happen. I put it in the time estimate. This is where most of that time loss can happen. I think I got hit during the night portion there, and I didn't realize it because I thought I had 2 HP, and I had 1. So I was a little bit more aggressive with the block with Korobo. My friends at the marathon, if you want to run ads, like, this would be the best time to do it. Like, it's just kind of a lot of this right now. I was okay with taking damage there. I'd rather do it there. Especially having full health before that. I wish that rock would break, like, sooner rather than later, because that's going to become an issue if it doesn't break. He can actually do damage to it too, as he goes up and touches it, so hopefully he actually starts doing that, because he's ready to be popped. And this is usually where the fight gets to be the scariest, because he's very fast and very hard to see. Oh, come on. And he also really doesn't like to, like, hit the fork by conventional manners. So, like, he's gonna just bounce off of it a lot and not touch it, which is gonna be really frustrating for us, but we're gonna deal with it the best we can. And he hit me. Oh, man. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. So every time he goes past, he goes into a feeding frenzy and puts on 100 kilos again. So I have to beat that off of him before I can then get him into the fork. So he's back down to weight. Let's see what happens. Come on, buddy. You can do it. Just gotta touch the fork once. That's it.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on. Nope, we're going back into the stone hole. He also, as he gets lighter, becomes a lot more likely to go into what I like to call the stone hole, where he turns to stone and cannot be popped at that point. Cannot go far enough to get popped, but he's going to eat again. Yeah, unfortunately, this boss fight is really annoying because the fork's hitbox is not consistent with the fork. So even though he rubbed up against the fork, like in front of us, he doesn't pop and he has to get hit from the side of the fork. So he's going into too many feeding frenzies. I think he's going to wind up killing me again because I'm kind of losing control of this fight. See, he's like gaining weight rapidly now. Yeah. So sometimes this fight is a minute, sometimes this fight is 10 minutes, and there's basically no control that we have. Come on. Sorry, guys. This just is straight awful. Like, this is like the Shishki Babu fights that you have nightmares about going into the run. Like, this is the worst case scenario. We're stalling out in like 100 kilogram land, and that's pretty bad. I'm just kind of balls to the walling this. I'm getting tired. If I die, I die. We're back down to weight, so he can go back to the fork anytime he wants now. Come on, come on! Nope. There we go. You see, that's the corner I was talking about. So the fork in the middle of the thing is only activated by the top right corner if he's coming off of a wall. This boss fight is broken. We did it. It's over. We can enjoy the run again. It's all done. Finally. I was really surprised I beat him on that one, I'll be honest with you. So, with that, we got through the Shishki Babu boss fight, and we're pushing right on through. We rescued Spumoni, and we are gonna go in and have another celebratory earthquake. But you guys remember our friend Skinny Ray from earlier? Well, Skinny Ray is gonna play a massive part of this whole experience. But we'll get into that. So, actually, I'd like to explain Jumbo Champloo early now that I have the time to do it, because we're gonna have a really long cutscene. We're gonna go fight another king after this called the Jumbo Champloo of New Island Kingdom. So, kind of where we ran off to fight those random turnips to get those items to sell and activate the jump cannon, there was a bunch of little bushes back there. Now, you guys will see what I'm talking about when it's time, and I'll be a little bit more explicit when it happens. But one of those bushes is placed in the most perfect place imaginable. Like, it's hilarious. It brings you to a spot where Korobo is going to be, like, kind of pushed up against the wall out of bounds, kind of in bounds, kind of not. And that's going to be really important. So here's the thing. When we're in that little corner position, it's going to be a situation where we're going to have to clip out of bounds. Now, in order to do that, we're going to have to change directions. And as soon as we do that, Corbo is going to be pushed back inbound. So if you remember when Purely Splatonic was explaining the Super Scepter glitch, it actually, while you use the Scepter attack, Corbo's hitbox just disappears. Sorry, his collision disappears. His hitbox stays. Let me just save. Yes. Okay. So his hitbox actually stays, but his collision goes away. And that's going to be very important, because it's going to allow us to exploit this whole situation and go out of bounds. Once we do that, I'll check in with you guys a little bit, but first, I want you to enjoy the final form, the Golden Castle. Corbo and his 3 wives are making merry, whatever that means, but all of a sudden, Skinny Ray has something to say. Skinny Ray, you have the floor.
Con un estrito federazionador
Thank you guys for the congratulations on defeating Shishki Babu. Now, just so you guys can get the full Little King story any % experience there, after you do Shishki Babu, there's still another reset choke point right there, right after the boss fight of Shishki Babu. And we're gonna go heading right into it in Jumbo Champloo early. So you're almost an hour into this speed run most times, before you're actually done with the every 5 minutes is a reset opportunity thing. So as I go into the Jumbo Champloo fight, I forgot how much text was. Sorry. Now, right now, what they're debating is whether or not they should take immediate actions and build Skinny Ray's flying machine, or shouldn't he? But here's the thing. I'm in favor of it. I'm the king! But my 3 advisors are not really so in favor of what's about to happen here, so it is what it is. I guess that motion's gonna be shot down. I'm not a very effective king. So Skinny Ray is pissed off about this situation, as he'll let us know right now. His little light bulb shines and the world continues to shake, which it does, actually. Alrighty. So we stop the festival and we get ready for some fun. Now, this is where I'm going to start pulling some political stuff and going over my advisor's head. So my advisors actually don't want me to build this flying machine for Skinny Ray. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. So as soon as I run outside in any capacity, Skinny Ray actually traps me in a cutscene. And what I mean by that is, the cutscene never ends unless I agree to help him. He'll never let me out of this cutscene loop. So as I go outside, you can clearly hear somebody's working on something. Yeah. So he's not very efficient, though, because all he's managed to do is gather 2 hammers, a lot of wood, and nothing else. Now, as I come over, he kind of asked me if I feel like helping, and honestly, I feel like helping because it's really important to finishing this run to build this flying machine. So he's going to ask us to build it, I guess. Now, here's the interesting thing about this situation, is we're trying to take over the world. Where are we going to have time to go find ourselves where we're going to find pieces to a spaceship? Now, despite going outside, normally when you go outside, your dead guard members respawn. That doesn't respawn them, so I just have to run out really quickly to respawn them. It seems kind of random, and I promise you it's not. So at this point, what we're going to do is go ahead into our suggestion box and open a God Food Store suggestion, where somewhere with a lot of cakes, we can find a spaceship part. That's kind of cool. I know places with a lot of cakes. Next up, we have God Booze. I think I know where this is going. So somewhere where there's a dragon, we can find a spaceship part. That doesn't seem like I recognize that. And then, God Paper. Somewhere in a battlefield, an arena, there's an X that marks the spot. Anyway, that's enough of that. What we're going to do is go ahead with some of our kingdom development, build the Hunter Hut, which will allow us to get some archers going, as well as 2 houses to increase our kingdom's population. We're going to buy formations for our guard, and also the calisthenic etiquette or whatever to build up HP. Now, Liam's going to modify the podium, which is going to give us a massive list of people. Alright, so now that I took that really roundabout distraction from Jumbo Champloon early, I'm actually, for the sake of the marathon, so we don't have to go through that cutscene sequence again, I'm going to save, because this is a spot where if I mess this trick up, the run is done. And 6 minutes have gone by since that last save point, so we're just going to save real quick, because I have mercy. Anyway. So as I said, we're going to head over to a spot where we can squeeze ourselves out of bounds and abuse a hitbox exploit with Korobo. Now, once we're going to get out of bounds, we're going to start seeing some stuff that's really more expected from a speedrun, quite frankly. This has all been pretty normie up until this point, and this run is not a normie speedrun. So I'm going to get a full guard of soldiers because the Jumbo Champloon wants to throw some hands. Anyway, we're going to get back to this spot, which normally is the first time you're seeing it in a run because we had to go and get those turnips. It is not. And we have these bushes. So this first one needs to go, but it's this bush back here that is the magical bush. And we've popped out of bounds. Let's see. Now, once we're out of bounds, this is great, this is cool. I'm walking on water, but you know what? That doesn't do anything for me. I'm going to have to go and let the game know I'm here, because quite frankly, we haven't passed any flags, anything to let it know that it's here. Luckily, once that big cutscene happened where all of the kings became known to us, these little hitboxes appear at the entrances of the kingdoms, which sets the game's flag to make it think you got to that kingdom by normal means. Well, you know what kind of is bad about this is that we had to pop back in bounds to do this, so we have to now go through the entirety of New Island Kingdom, which is kind of slow if I'm being honest with you. Except we don't. Because Korobo still gets weird hitbox stuff when he's in Super Sector mode, and we're going to pop right back out of bounds with that using that Fan Oni. Now, once we pop back out of bounds, we're back in the water again. So we're running past a bridge we'd have to build, enemies we'd have to fight. We would have to go ahead and build an elevator as things attacked us. It would be harrowing. And instead, we're going to skip over all of that and just go ahead and listen to what, in my opinion, is the most fire soundtrack in this game. And it's got some good ones. It's got some bangers. So, let me fill some blanks in that you would have known about New Island Kingdom. It's a new kingdom that's under construction, including their language is kind of being figured out in real time. So, he's gonna introduce himself with their language. Arithmetic. That's skills! I'm not gonna do the whole thing, don't worry. I just have to do basket, because it's awesome. The first phase of this fight is like standard auto-scroller boss fight. You can only do a certain amount of damage, call your guys off, put them back on. The second stage of this fight doesn't have a damage cap. It actually has like a place in the fight that it has to force a switch. So we're going to exploit that to make the last section less painful, but this first one is just very, very straightforward, like brain-dead video game boss fight. Very unga-bunga, just as soon as he's done with his attack. Once he starts twisting, you can't do damage. Once he's done, you can throw your guard at him, do it in a pattern, and you'll get it. Not very difficult, honestly. Now, I try to stay pointing at him, so as soon as this next phase can begin, I can just attack him, because you will keep your orientation you're facing between phases. So I always make sure I'm facing him, because otherwise I can't abuse the beginning, like, animations of stuff to damage him. Alright, we're just gonna be mashing A at him. That was really good. And then he's gonna lay an egg. Once he lays that egg, he's gotta hatch that egg with this, like, little hyper beam thing here. For all my Pokemon fans out there. And we can just do infinite damage to him until he's done with hyper beam, and that basically cut the last phase in, like, a third. Very, very fast to do that. There's a lot of damage I did. I'm gonna have to time this fight out to see if this is the IL record, because that was a lot of damage. I think I'm pointing at him. Could be. And... yeah, that's probably the boss fight record right there. Like, his rolling attack didn't even happen. Yeah, it's got some pretty fire, like, public domain music here. It does not like using music it has to pay for, though. Which is okay, I respect that. Okay. So, guys, that is the last, like, immediate run-killing thing that's gonna happen for a while so we can breathe. And we can rescue the next princess. Okay, please, everyone, just remember, I did not write this game. Like, it wasn't me. I am so sorry. I didn't do this. I'm so sorry. Just be glad this isn't the last princess I rescue, because there's a truly inappropriate reference that gets made in the cutscene on that one, so... we're doing good, guys. Anyway. So now that we've defeated the Jumbo Champion, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do probably the craziest speedrunning exploit we're gonna do in this run. Now, we're gonna kind of just let ourselves get through a little bit of cutscenes before I ask Purely Splatonic to enter into the 12-page doctoral dissertation defense that is my explanation for the Egan exploit. But before that, I'd like to just explain what's going on in the grand scheme of the run, because we've accepted 3 god requests, and we haven't done them. And we're not going to do them for a moment. We're going to go ahead and defeat all of the kings before we worry about escaping the world through a spaceship. So we still have to fight through King Omelette, King TV Dinner, and King Long Sauvage. Now, the thing is King Omelette has some pretty messed up stuff going on with him and his boss battle. So what we're going to do is head right for that boss battle so we can use some pretty amazing exploits. Before that, we're just going to have to get through a cutscene and sleep a little bit. So the first thing we're going to see here is every time we rescue a princess, we always come back to the castle, we always have a celebration with our folks, and Hauser's always just like, yes, let me exclaim something epic, and then the world shakes. Now, they're getting worse. This is not the northeastern earthquake the other day. This is a Californian earthquake. So, Skinny Ray, upon hearing and feeling that earthquake, feeling the earthquake, runs back into the castle to make another impassioned plea to the bureaucrats of the Alpoco Kingdom to please allot some of the massive amounts of money you just took from toppling a puff giant for my spaceship, and I'm going to say yes, and my advisors all say no. So even though I'm king, I can't do anything about this situation right now. I'm not happy about it. Anyway. Skinny Ray's gonna guilt trip us a little bit. And I am not gonna let the people celebrate my victory of Jumbo Champloo because that was not really that epic of a boss fight. Honestly, it might have been. I have to time that out. But anyway. Now, I am going to go to sleep twice, because after you start defeating kingdoms, you get some of their citizens from that kingdom to move into your own kingdom. And in this case, 2 days after defeating the Jumbo Champloo, sorry guys, I dropped my ring light. Oh, we got some bad RNG here anyway. So every time you go to sleep, one of your wives has a random chance of just appearing and waking you up. It loses like 15 to 20 seconds, and there's nothing I can do about it, so our new wife actually just cost us like 15, 20 seconds, and we go back to sleep. So 2 days after defeating the Jumbo Champloo at that point, one of his kingdom members, the Craftians, are going to move into... God! Ugh, come on, man! This is not supposed to be common. Okay, I don't have to go back to sleep again, so they can't cost me any more time. Okay, cool. So if everything went well, we should just see the Craftian. Yep, there he is. So, I'm going to go ahead and make my army over a little bit, because now I can't just push my way through everything with brute force. I actually have to, like, think and use my mind a little bit. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here we go. So I need 4 farmers. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 3 archers. Give sweets and don't talk. Honestly? I'm trying to come up with one note for that, and I can't. And then the rest at this point goes into hunters. Right? Not hunters, carpenters. And yep, this should be right. Let's see. So now, this Craftian is so important to us because it can break this rock, where none of our other citizens are able to at this point. You know I'm still trying Super Scepter. See? Oh man, he shot me. I did Superceptor and he shot me as the result. Okay, honestly, it's not that big of a deal. If I don't destroy myself within this run up to the omelet, it should be fine. And if I do, there is a hot springs I can use, so we're not totally screwed. Anyway, here we are. So in Skull Plains, we're going to be dealing with a lot of Pyro Oni. Wow, I messed that up bad. I mean, it doesn't really matter, it's just kind of funny. Alright, anyway. This should be fine. Alright, it's good. Now, the evade formation is particularly important here because there really is no way of not killing everybody without this evade formation. Now, normally, Superceptoring here is nice, but I'm not doing it because we don't have... I don't like that. Normally, you want to attack him in the run-up there, but my guys got caught on something, which was kind of unfortunate. Not the end of the world. Hey, as long as the archer doesn't keep running back into the fire, it's fine. Cool. That should be a low death Skull Plains. If you don't lose anybody by the time this bridge is being constructed, you should have a low death Skull Plains. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed. Big disclaimer right there, but it should happen if nothing goes like horrendously awful. So, back in the day, I used to think breaking this rock here was optimal. Turns out it's really not. I learned that the hard way by a lot of timing stuff out throughout the weeks and months. Alright, here we go. This is one of the not fun parts of this game, this specific rock. Because of, well, the fact that there's chickens, which are low-key snipers, and this rock, who really is pretty pissed off about us being there defeating and destroying another rock. So we kind of just damage rush this whole situation, though, because there's really not much of a better thing to do with it. LOL, that's like 1 hit point away. Okay, again, low death is all I can want, not no death. And especially just losing a random carpenter is not that big of a deal. So up here is our cow cannon, which, as we know, we really like to build cow cannons. It's very important. Because when we go to do the God quest here later, we're really going to like this cow cannon. Alright, here's Worrywart Kingdom. So, in the lead-up to this fight, and I will have Purely Splatonic explain this whole glitch sequence you guys are about to see, because it's a lot, I just want to give you a little bit of what this fight is supposed to be. So, before you do anything, you go into this little maze here, and you have to use just Korobo to navigate your way through. Now, normally there's some pretty creepy stuff written on the papers that we could read. I'm not really going to do that because it's a waste of time and, I don't know, it doesn't do very much for me at this point. But when we go into Omelet, the King Omelet's fight, he does what's known as a quiz battle, and it's normally 9 questions you have to answer by using your Royal Guard to destroy the right answer and everything. But, it doesn't really work that way in any percent. But for now, I'm going to run up. I'm going to go ahead and start some of these cutscenes, and I'm just going to let Purely Splatonic take you through a little bit about what's going on.
Okay, so everything that you are about to see resulted from a runner named Chi495 messing around with this boss fight. So, normally, King Omelet challenges you to a quiz battle in which you have to use your Royal Guard to destroy the correct answer, as TCB was saying. However, if you guess wrong, you'll have to endure 30 seconds of madness with an enraged cockadoodle, or, the giant chickens, chasing you in an eerie purple hazed arena. If the exit is loaded on camera, a fork and a spoon will prevent you from escaping the arena. However, if you stand in a certain position, you can deload the exit and make a mad dash to the loading zone that was not disabled by the boss fight.
So, I kind of have a little bit of a natural pause there, just because that's what I'm going to go with right now. Right now, we're just kind of activating 3 little cutscenes that have to appear before that point. I'm going to make a cut immediately for the bottom right sector of the court, because the wrong answer will always spawn here. This bottom right thing has no potential to spawn the correct choice, so no matter what's there, I'm going to break. That position was chosen not only because it's really, really convenient that none of the right answers ever spawn there, so it's really convenient to just stand there, it also deloads everything. So I'm going to travel back to the Kingdom of the Right through a loading zone that the developers never thought you were going to touch during this whole thing. That fourth combination that was over there.
Sitios más altos, pisos superiores de apartamento.
Yes.
White is dirty, black is clean. What could I be? It's a chalkboard. However, like I said, the chalkboard will never spawn here. So, let's get the answer wrong, shall we? Oh, look, an arrow board. That looks like when it's clean, it's black, and dirty, it's white.
Okay, so here are the cockadoodles that we were talking about earlier. They get really mad and they chase you. So, you're able to leave through this little place that would normally be blocked. During the transition, the timer reaches 0, but you are not called back. However, the game is hard-coded to make... Oh.
So what wound up happening there is the chicken homes onto you, and I did not do a good line. And because I already took the damage in that area beforehand, I couldn't do it. So the chicken caught up to me. I'm going to take a little bit better of a line this time to distract the chicken better. I apologize for that. But as we were saying.
Sitios más altos, pisos superiores de apartamento.
Okay, so the game is hard-coded to make optimizations during the boss sequences, so most assets, collisions, and loading zones are disabled. But because we had previously accepted a Guardian request, that loading zone remains. Once we exit the Guardian fight, the game returns to a semi-normal state in which more but not all assets are loaded.
So, I accidentally killed the Craftian, which is really necessary to keep alive through this fight, so I apologize for the 3rd time we're going to need to go through this again. I'm really kind of messing everything up for everybody, so we love TCB.
Sitios más altos, superiores de apartamento.
Okay, so answer is wrong. We get some cock-doodles.
De apartamento.
And we'll see if we can get past them.
Valid question, Ed.
Okay, so we are still trying to get to that, spot.
Are fine.
Okay.
Cool, we did it!
So, as we see, that timer reaches 0, but we are not called back because we were able to get to that spot. That timer, fun fact, will actually stay with us for the rest of the run. Here is that purple haze that we were talking about, where some stuff is loaded in, but not enough to actually make it, make sense and be as it should. So let's see. So right now, we are on our way to check out a Guardian. So because we had loaded that previously and accepted that request, we are on our way there to then kind of help load a couple of things back in.
I always go through the phases of thinking that I missed the loading zone, and I didn't.
Okay, so here we are. We are exiting the Guardian fight, and so this, you will see, things will return to a semi-normal state in which more but not all of the assets are loaded. From this point, we can take advantage of a lack of walls and run directly to a newly spawned loading zone and activate the Sobamanjaro Arena and Cannon, which, as we know, we like the cannons, they are very important. Once the cannon is set up, we jump to the castle to do some menuing and head back over to defeat King Omelette.
So, we've hit our little loading zone here, and Poncho is going to come charging in, and now at this point the game is like almost back to normal. It's not at all back to normal though, but as Purely Splatonic was saying, we are about to see the cow cannon load, which is the only important thing. At that point, what's really also nice about this is that at the end of every king battle, our guard actually heals itself. Which is good because my guard has taken a beating. You can see in real time, I realized I sent a soldier at the cannon and I had to call everybody back. It will do damage to it, and I don't want that.
Yes.
A little unintended nice thing that happens there is that, because that is another sitting on the throne thing, it does advance that to 4 out of the 7 that we're actually going to need for the merchants later on. So that's just a one little added advantage of that.
So now we are headed back over to quote-unquote defeat King Omelette. So most of his kingdom is still deloaded, but the load zone for his defeat sequence spawns in the form of a giant egg. We will see that coming up shortly.
Yep, so actually, as cool as this is actually kind of the last, like, major glitch we're gonna check out in this game. And this is, like, the major glitch of this game, don't get me wrong, but this is the last one that we wind up utilizing for this run. Everything else is pretty much done as it is supposed to be. Give or take a few small little details here and there. Sorry, I was really bad at finding one. This is it? Yes, it is. That's a setup that's kind of new even for me, so I still am not really sure of myself all of the lines that I take. And I always have the right line, I just second guess myself and I make it slower because that's what speedrunners do. So, we've actually defeated King Omelette. Like, his boss flag is checked off. We did not defeat the boss. But the game is still kind of in an altered state still, because here's the thing. Those barriers that spawned that let us fly out of bounds that it didn't actually show up, believe it or not, they're still gone. We don't have to rescue the princess in the vase, and in fact, we're not going to. We're gonna leave her. Well, kinda. She'll show up at the end of the game. She has to. But we're gonna completely leave her in the vase. Like I said, that's kind of the last major glitch. At this point, it's just kind of a lot of basic gameplay speedruns for a while. So there's the Princess Vase, and we're just gonna let her alone. Honestly, like, she'll have a purpose later, but it's not now. So one of the reasons that I purposefully killed my character during the boss fight was I killed the Craftian on accident, which was not my finest move, I'll be honest with you guys. But it's all good. So why I really needed that Craftian to stay alive was obviously he gets healed at the end of that boss fight sequence, which is good for me. But, like, really, I need him to destroy this rock. So I really kind of wind up doing a lot of damage rushing because they've all just been healed. They can take some damage. Not really that big of a deal. Like, even if they get hurt, they really don't take very much damage in this next place, so it's all good. But even though I took some damage, I'm not really concerned about it. This is one of the easiest fights we're about to go into. So next up, we're going right into Primetime Kingdom. It's not normally what we expect to see. We expect to go back to the castle, have a vote where Skinny Ray loses it, all sorts of good stuff. From here, we're just going. Now, this maze is preset every time, but we're going to use these little televisions to transport ourselves to different islands. During this little sequence here, though, we're going to get separated from our royal guard, and we're going to see if I can do this without messing this up, because this is a lot of fast-moving pieces, and it's random seeming. So we'll see. All the TVs will always bring me to the same spots, though, so this is not new stuff for me. This should be able to be done without problems. I am gassing myself up so I can make a lot of mistakes. I've died 5 times to bosses now. No. Great. That's still 3 too many.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No. Yeah.
Huh. I think I know what I did. I think I missed. No, I didn't. Never mind. Like any good speedrunner, though, I constantly think I'm doing something wrong until I don't. Alright, so... We're going to get very close to the game trying to go back to its normal state soon, and this is going to be the easiest way of doing it. We're going to start yet another kingdom fight. Now, in this particular fight, what we're actually going to go ahead and do is have a little bit of a geography battle with the King TV Dinner of Primetime Kingdom. What we're going to go actually and do is be spawned on like a world map with a giant TV tower in the middle of it, and he's going to give us riddles as to where he is. These riddles are always the same. So for example, if he's arrived in the nation of art, he's arrived in France. If he's arrived in this trend-setting nation, it's Italy. If there's pandas and whatnot, it's China. If it's a mysterious island shrouded in mystery, it's the Eastern Islands. So the first 2 times we see him, he's only going to give us that one hint. That's it. The second 2 times we see him, he's going to say, hey, I'm here, but just kidding, I'm actually here. The last time, he's going to do it 3 times. But if I guess right, there should be no circumstances where I'm not dealing damage to him. During the times where I'm digging him up on the map, there's going to be World War II style planes coming at me, and his citizens are going to be in full military garb attacking me. But again, this is not a terrible boss fight if you are lucky a little bit and you know your geography. Which is why when I was growing up and I was in the 8th grade when this game came out, this fight was actually really hard for me because I didn't even know half of the countries that he was talking about existed. So this was all just an RNG fest for me, whether or not it was the correct ones that I'd be guessing. The only other rule I should say is that he can't be in the same country twice in one fight. So if he's in France for his first location, he will never be in France. He will never pretend to be in France. That's just where he's not gonna go. Let's do it. Alright, let's see this first hint. I have arrived in this trend-setting nation, that is Italy. That's an easy one, at least. So we can only do 1/5 of his health at a time, so once we do that 1/5, we just stop attacking and wait for him to go back down. So he can't be in Italy again. Which is upsetting, because Italy is kind of a cool place. Alright, where is he? He's arrived in the nation of art. He is really Europe-centric here. Just like history, that's right. Alright, come on, come on, come on, there we go. Wait, what? Whoa, 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 what did I do? Did I accidentally do Spain instead of France? I accidentally did Spain instead of France. Oh boy, oh boy, oh god, oh god, oh god. There's knives, guys, there's knives. We're in the cooking channel. This is not a drill. Okay, so I think I did Spain instead of France. I done clucked up, as the kids would say. Alrighty, yep, I did Spain instead of France. That's... okay. Whatever. At least I didn't lose anybody during that, or I didn't, like, kill Corbo, which is good. Okay. Yep, okay, yeah, I definitely did the wrong one last time. Yep, there you go. Oh yeah, so occasionally now in this section of the game we can get random earthquakes happening. They don't actually do anything, but we just got a random earthquake there. We got a medium tremor with a magnitude of 4.5. Not terrible. So now he's going to try to fake us out with one of his answers. So the first one that he gives us is wrong, and it's the second one that he's actually got. I've landed in the nation of Gazpacho, Flamingo, and Endless Siestas. So we are really Europe-centric here. Okay, I'm gonna chance it and see what happens. It's fine. Alright, we should be able to get him. There you go. Yeah, this is actually the last run of the marathon. For you guys pulling up the schedule, this is it. This is Little King's Story, any percent. Really, really lots of lore 2024. It's been a pleasure running for you guys so far. And we are going to try to head this run into its final stages here. Alright, let's see. So it can't be Japan. Where is it? Trek through the desert on a camel's back with the triangular monuments. I think that's Egypt right there. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna feel really bad if that's not Egypt. I really think that is Egypt. Okay. Okay. Because I was gonna say Egypt is like right off of the Fertile Crescent and everything. Just got it. Alright, we got one last place to find him, and then we're only going to have one king left. And at that point, we got to go build our spaceship and go up into the skies to see what's causing all of those earthquakes. Now, I should go ahead and speak on a little bit of the experience of running Little King's Story in general, because it's been kind of interesting for me, because it really has been primarily two people. It's been me, and it's been a French runner, Chi495, who's no longer active anymore in speedrunning. So really at this point, it is just kind of me at this point doing this. So if you guys are finding this run interesting, finding it entertaining, you're born on the West African coast. That's not you, that's TV Dinner. You find this run interesting, entertaining, you're enjoying watching it, you think that it's kind of cool, I can absolutely direct you to some of the better Little King Story Discords and YouTube channels. I can't necessarily say that I have a ton of runners you should go and follow, but we can absolutely get you some of those as we go. We're just going to work on finishing up this battle with TV Dinner. And that is that. TV Dinner has been defeated. And with that, TV Dinner is defeated. Now, we will actually have to rescue the princess that he has captured in a vase, unfortunately. We have to watch another cutscene. But that's okay, because TV Dinner is down. Please send him your support. Now, please don't actually send any support to his P.O. box. He just takes the money and he uses it on himself, alright? Oh, he's not even giving the P.O. box. That's good. I don't want really lots of lore getting upset with me because TV Dinner took its viewers' marathon viewers' money. Alright. Go. So this is Kokomo Pine. She seems to be very famous in the TV world, although, to be honest, aside from TV Dinner, I haven't seen a single TV screen throughout this entire experience, so I don't really know what to make of it. But regardless, with her, I've actually unlocked 6 of the 7 women I'm going to marry, and we've only spoken to one once willingly, and I actively complained when 2 of them tried to speak to me. So look, this is what happens when you marry a polygamous child. You don't get the individualized attention that people deserve. Sorry. But on that note, so at this point, we're going to start setting our sights on defeating the last king and starting to take this run into its final phases at this point. The last king that we're going to go up against is King Long Sauvage. He's a man who is obsessed with being as tall as you can possibly be, but understands that once you get a little older, you're not going to keep growing. So at that point, just grow your beard out into the holy heavens at that point. Actually, I keep looking down at my notebook. You guys keep seeing me look at it. There's a lot to remember going on in this run, so I really have to keep up on, watching the game and doing the correct things. So, at this point, though, Skinny Ray is actually trying to come and get his attention, but Campbell... See, Campbell is a preacher that we were supposed to build a church for in early game, but, we didn't. So, anyway, I'm saying, look, anything at this point we could do to improve the situation, do it. Let's pray to make the earthquake stop. And my bureaucrats, well, they make it happen, and I'll take it. So we're going to go ahead and stop the festival. We're going to go ahead and just purchase our last upgrade, really, and start moving on to the end parts of this run.
Yes, sir.
Alright. So we can only accept 5 quests at once, so right now I have 5 god quests going, and that's all I can really do, which is fine. Now, I have 30 total guard badges to give, and I'm only going to give out 29 of them purposefully, because at that point, the Royal Guard members will actually start to lag the game, which is, not the most fun you've ever had in your entire life. Oh, I'm doing that on accident, forgetting about the cow cannon. We just have to go, transform my friends, the carefree adults, into some lumberjacks, and then go and take on Long Sauvage. Long Savage's like mountain obstacle course, if you will, is essentially just everything you faced in this game, be it wood, stone, digging, building things, fighting enemies. It's more of just kind of like a little test of some of the game mechanics that you may or may not have learned. So this is kind of that area that we accessed in the Eggen glitch sequence earlier, except now everybody here is like normal again, which is cool. And in order to activate this boss fight, all we have to do is just walk up and say hello. He's gonna ask us if we're hikers. Of course we are. I mean, I'm wearing a crown. What hikers doesn't show up to a trail wearing a crown? So, he's letting his king, Long Sauvage, know about the visitors he has, the challengers. But first, lunchtime. Lunch is very important, especially when you're chilling up 491 meters in the air. However, that's a lot of meters of variance. I don't know if you guys have ever run the 400 meter dash. There's a lot that can happen over those meters, including birds taking things in slow motion, this miner just chowing down and tossing a core in there as it travels up a meter in slow motion. The UFO takes nothing, which is not usually how UFOs roll. Oh, and his beard also functions as arms. As most men's does.
Я хорошо заложил за галс и был пьян. Но признаться, как 40 меня обдало.
So, for the viewers I still have in chat, what's been your favorite part of this marathon experience so far? It's been going on for 2 whole weeks. All right, and here we go. So this is a very annoying area in this game because you're essentially having to destroy rocks, which, as we've spoken about previously, is not my Royal Guard's forte. But luckily in this one, you don't get attacked while you're breaking the rock, which is kind of nice. That's what I was trying to avoid having happen. Alright, we're going to damage rush a little bit. Not a big deal. Now up there, as you can see, the falling balls of beard, which is just something I never thought I'd have to say in my life. Those can hurt you. In fact, they will hurt you. The idea is to do our best trying to avoid it, but it's going to hit us at one point, and there's next to nothing I can do about that. A lot of the whole thing of this speedrun can always be boiled down to just how much damage can you take before you start reaching like a critical mass of damage. Which is like, we're kind of reaching that point here, but like, not really. Because eventually, you just do too much damage to reasonably be able to go on with the run. And what I mean by that is, like, in the Shishki Babu fight there, if I would have... Oh, this could get scary. If I would have, you know, done more damage to my army at that point, I could have actually done some pretty major deaths. Yeah, they're catching up to me a little. Oh good, I am 1 health left. That's what I want to say. Luckily, even if we do die, this isn't the worst thing to have to redo. I would just prefer to not have to do it. Let's see. Left, right, left. Left, right, right. left, right, left. So the way that this little section of this battle works is that no matter what, it's always going to be different. So I have to read that sign. There's no way, unless you're like doing a tool-assisted speed run and you can actually know beforehand what's going to happen. You cannot know that. All right, just one. The left, right, left. Left, right, right. Alright, the good news is after this chicken is dead, that's all that can do to me. Okay. Left, right, right. Two rights, which should be 2 boulders at this point. And then we're going to deal with a little bit of the scary point, which I know is what everyone wants to hear in this type of setting. That was close. We're not going to try that again, because that's not going to do. Beating the heck out of my army here, but it's alright, they're tough, they can take it. It's gonna be, so we're past this point, which is good. I am usually not a big fan of doing this, but I'm gonna make an exception. Because, like, there is no reason to die here. Oh, nice. Diablo 2 is an awesome game. Oh, wow. So, see all my carpenters stuck at the bottom there that didn't make it up? I can't, there's nothing I can do. I can't get them up here. Because I can't cross the Sea of the Beard again. Alright, whatever. I mean, that's not actually the end of the world. It just slows some stuff down, kinda. But, like, not even. Because, like, it's not that bad. Like, we still have 5 minutes left to do this fight, and the fight's over, so it's fine. The important thing was we didn't die to that fight, because restarting this fight is actually, like, a long time. Okay, that's the last king. From this point on, we just have to go ahead and discover some of the ship parts and go and save the world from the earthquakes. So, I'm 6'3". I kind of feel this on a personal level right here. Whenever somebody's taller than me, that's kind of what I'm trying to do in my mind, is like jump out of an imaginary chair to get taller than them, and it doesn't always work so well, unfortunately. So usually I resort myself to standing on my hands and talking backward. He's alive, don't worry. You see him later in the game, and you will one more time in this run, but very briefly. Okay. So now we get to just sit back and watch some cutscenes. This is Ferne, the last of the princesses I will be rescuing at that point, and really what you're going to be concerned with here is the overt sexual nature of Ferne at this point. So while we did have like the child at one point after Jumbo Champloo, now we have somebody who is like such a caricature of herself that her boobs are hardly contained by her thorns around them, which I'm sure is a metaphor for something, but I'm not smart enough to know what it is. So now with all of my 7 princesses, the world is actually liberated. It's unified under King Aljerko. I mean El Poco, I mean Kurobo. So the cats symbolize, well, love, as it's spelling out with hearts. And with that, we've rescued all the princesses. Alright. So, right now, here we are celebrating the grand reunification of the world. We have all of the princesses, Skinny Ray, the preacher Campbell, all of my advisors in one room. We've done it. And honestly, if I was playing this game and this was the end of the game, I'd feel satisfied. I really would. But we still have those god quests to do. We still haven't touched any of the ship. Is there going to be a consequence of that? Yeah, there is going to be a consequence. So TV Dinner was repurposed and has become a reporter for us now. So right now, the effects of this earthquake is terrible. It's being felt throughout this entire world. Hey, there's Shishki Babu, who we popped and sent into orbit earlier. Now, after that awful disaster struck, it's finally time for the bureaucrats to get together and do something about that now that things have been, escalated. So, right now, we're gonna go ahead and do a few things in this last segment here. We have to sell 3 more batches of items to activate the 7th sale merchant to get an alarm clock, and we have to go ahead and do some of these requests. So you still get an item every time you complete a request, and that's not gonna change about this situation here. So, I am going to save because this is the last sudden choke point of the run. Of course, I forgot we're not doing a celebration after that whole celebration. It's a little urgent right now, of course. So, what we're going to do at first here is go back for our last glitch, really, that we're going to see in the run. I just need one person so they don't yell at me for trying to leave the kingdom without an army. This is a perfectly legitimate army that I can go out and fight my way through the world with. One farmer. He's got 5 HP, though, which is high for a farmer. So, like, honestly, I do pretty well with this. So we're actually going to go back over to New Island Kingdom. Alright, we got the glitch. Now, we don't have to do all of that nonsense with running back and forth to activate certain flags in the game at this point, because the flag has been activated once we accepted the God forecast at this point. Now, this is a natural response, though, of like the game knowing that we're getting close to this forecast here. The forecast is essentially saying, get over to New Island Kingdom and get this here propeller. So that's the easiest God quest to do. It really is. So we use our jumping feature to go back to the castle, and I'm going to go ahead and sit on my throne, sell my goods, and accept another God quest. So, unfortunately, I have to meet this merchant, even though he doesn't have anything useful, or else he'll keep showing up to offer me the same thing. So he gives me an advanced weapon plan, which doesn't do anything, really, for me to make it worth buying, I guess, for lack of a better word. So now, we have to reassemble our Royal Guard, and go out and get some of the harder ones to get. And that's going to require us going to Boney Tunnel, of all places. So, we haven't seen Shishki Babu or Duvrak's kingdom in a long time, and we're going to get to see what happened to them after that. So, as you might imagine, nothing's really changed significantly about Shishki Babu's kingdom. We still have all the sweets that I didn't destroy sitting right here. And we're going to leave it alone because I think that they're pretty delectable looking and they can just stay. Alright, I'm going to stop doing that. At a certain point, you just have to realize I'm not getting Super Scepter today. A little trouble there. Another earthquake, huh? Actually, it might just be the giant bug doing that, actually. Alright. We've got the refrigerator. Now we've got to go over and face the deadly dragon. Or just run past him, one of the two. But first, we got to run back to the throne and sell what we have. So in all of this time, I should also go ahead and start to mention what's going to happen with the rest of the run. Because obviously once Skinny Ray's flying machine is completed, he's going to want to use it, and I think rightfully so. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, after this whole situation is shucking out here, we're going to start like an auto-scroller type event that's not going to really have any time save potential to it because it doesn't really change from run to run, and it just kind of brings us into the final boss area. So the flying machine is the key to accessing the final boss. Ironically enough, with that Eggin glitch where I ran out of bounds and I ran all over the world, you can actually get to the final boss area, but it won't do anything as the flags for the game to, respond have not been set at this point. So, right now, the main glitch potential that this run still really has to it is to figure out some way to set the game into a final state before the Eggin glitch to happen, so that way we can run directly into the final boss loading zone trigger. It's just, unfortunately, it doesn't really seem to be in the cards right now, because the main blockade that we're facing there is actually figuring out how to trigger the whole final boss area to happen without... I really don't like the Marble Dragon. It has this fun tendency to just always know the worst thing to do. Alright. Hey! So here, we're going to go back to our friend the throne, and we're going to do our 7th merchant sale, which is going to activate a merchant to sell the alarm clock, which the alarm clock actually just lets you wake up at a certain time, either day or night, which we're really going to need because one of the princess or the god requests requires talking to a princess at night. And otherwise, you would have to sit there and wait the entire durations of the day to do this stuff. And I know that because that's actually used to be the old strategy there. It was not a good strategy, honestly. We have to do one more, except...
Yes.
Hey, we got all of our god requests accepted, and we just gotta go and finish them up. But first, how could I be so forgetful? I gotta buy the alarm clock. That would be helpful. Okay, now that I have the alarm clock, this can get much faster. So what I'm going to do is just set it for 8 p.m. and go to sleep. Alright, and now that it is actually dark, we can go and talk to Suzuka, the princess we never really wound up rescuing, if I'm being 100% honest. Because it wasn't really convenient for us to do so for the speedrun. So what she's gonna have, her whole thing is she holds this, like, crystal egg that she's very, very obsessed with and whatnot. So we have to talk to her 3 times in which she's gonna bring us through some dialogue. So right now she's holding her egg, and she's saying that she doesn't want it to be taken from her, and you start seeing a UFO off in the distance. That UFO is the same one from earlier. In that long Savage cutscene. But right here, right now, I can't really pay too much mind to that whole situation, because I gotta go and finish up collecting my, spaceship parts. So, we start reaching the point in the game where it just becomes optimal to, like, flood one profession, and right now, farmers is the profession we're gonna flood. So we have 20 farmers and 9 carpenters right now. And really, even after this section here, carpenters will become useless again. Well, they really never were useless, but they're about to become useless. Now, it would be really cool if we had to fight these mushrooms, but we really don't, so we just kind of walk past them. Hey. More to go. 3 more to go, sorry. I'm gonna say, like, that doesn't sound right. Now, ironically, it's actually faster to exit the castle and run up this ramp to go to your bed than it is to run through the whole castle. By, like, quite a considerable margin, too. Okay, we gotta bring it back to nighttime. And talk to Suzuka again. And then go to God TV, where we just run through that TV dinner maze again and then dig something up at the end of it. I will be the first person to say this game does get a little bit, like, boring at the end of the run, because it's kind of just going back, sleeping, talking, doing some basic tasks, sleeping, talking, but we just gotta get through this to wind up getting through the game, and it's probably one of the more interesting routing challenges we have left in this game right now. One of the interesting things is which order to do these is really truly optimal. I think I have the optimal order right now, but I very well may not. One of the challenges actually becomes timing everything out to see if you have the optimal stuff, because not only does your gameplay have to be there, but you have to make sure that you think of the most optimally correct thing at the start, because especially in communities or in speed games where there's not really a ton of community, like, bulk to it like this one, it becomes harder to sort of one-man army some of the stuff. I take the wrong way. Oh, that's silly. There we go. I was like, something looked very off about that. So we're back into the TV dinner maze, except this time we're just trying to get through it quickly and not having to rescue my farmers here. So we're not going to take as many, like, sort of seemingly random offshoots or anything. I'm very confused. Oof. Hey, so the god forecast was saying that this here tower would be very important. And go ahead and puts us off in this little area that I don't really know where this is. We don't really see it by normal means through the original map here, but here it is. This little hidden area with this little hole here. Alright, so, last but not least, we just have to go back, go to sleep one more time, talk to Suzuka, do the final quest, and we're in there. And at that point, we have one more opportunity for our wives to come talk to us when we wake up. But they don't come talk to us at the nighttime wake up, so it's only the morning one that come and interrupt the speedrun. I mean, talk to me. Alright.
Yes, sir.
So, we talk to Suzuka for the final time before she gives us the egg pieces, which I don't really see how just one pile of egg shell fragments is going to do an entire spaceship, but I'm also not a physicist, so here I am. Now, this last thing that we're going to do is I save the best for last, so to speak, because it's not the easiest thing. The speedrun is more like a slow walk, no disrespect. I mean, to be honest with you, because of the degree of cutscenes, I don't really disagree with you. Like, especially toward the end, it does drag out a little bit more. The only thing I can say is we're about to transition into the last part, which is good, but I get it. If there were more glitches I could play with to skip more cutscenes, this run would be faster, but it's so many cutscenes that it winds up becoming a challenge in that regard. But no, none taken on that. Some people find different things about speedruns entertaining, and some folks don't, and it is what it is. Come on, get in there.
Yes, sir.
Alright. So, we're going to go back, go to bed one more time, and then be ready to go into the final boss. Now, I always have to make sure I go into the end of that fight with at least 2 HP left with the king, because there's no way of avoiding taking that last bit of damage here. Alright, so what we do is just go back to sleep to activate the spaceship being ready to go the next day, and we go into the final boss. Alrighty. No, that's a good copy about, that's a good point about it. No, and I mean, I get it. Like I've said a few times now in this whole experience here, this speedrun can be a little bit of a slower moving speedrun at times for sure, though I can certainly see like some people not being as entertained as others are by it. Not a big deal. Right. Finishing that game barely 3 hours is pretty... I don't see what the next letter is.
Yeah.
AFST?
Oh, it's pretty fast. It was fast.
For pass. Oh, okay. Gotcha. No, yeah. And I mean, my record time is 2 hours and 47 minutes. Clearly, with the Shishki Babu fight, the deaths and everything, it's probably going to be about 3:15 at that point. So, here it is, the completed spaceship made out of the finest beard hairs that money can buy, that transports right up to spinning that propeller thing that we ripped off of Jumbo Champloon's head. And, here we go. So, there really shouldn't be any problems about me just jetting off into space and seeing what's there. In fact, even Hauser's gonna make sure I'm all good to go, and my one carefree adult is really ready for this. So, we are gonna go and venture into either heaven or hell. They go ahead and say hell in this game. But there is a problem, because here's Poncho. Is there another king we have to fight? I'm gonna be so annoyed. This is an emotional moment, so shut up, Poncho. Oh, he's got more letters. That's the first thing you should always see in this cow's mouth is some letters. So, we have a letter from the Records Minister Verde, that woman that helps me save the game. She's really helpful. And, a letter of indictment. Oh, that's rough. I'm being indicted in my own kingdom, and I didn't even set up a judicial branch of government, which seems like a big slap in the face to me. I did that so I wouldn't be indicted. 7 pairs of divorce papers because my wives kind of caught wind that I'm going into space without them. And they're not too happy about that. They all love me. So, here's the thing. I'm going to make a really, really careful decision about who is my one true love, because this is a pretty bad moment. And I'm just going to pick the first one. That sounds good. Cool. Yeah, sure, she's my true love. So, okay. Not only is it the first one, but of all of the, princess dialogues that's about to unfold here, this is also the shortest. So, she's just kind of chilling out here. I come running out and I'm like, no, Princess Apricot, I love you so much. I accepted your task and proceeded to do none of it. She's like, oh baby, yes, you got none of those signs that I wanted you to collect throughout the world. I love you too. Okay, let's go to space, guys.
Of course they love.
Who doesn't love their monarch? Not like the American Revolution was famously fought on that concept or anything. Alrighty. So, here we are. Time to blast up into space and get a little bit of a callback from all of the kings that we managed to go through, all of those kingdoms. So, here we are. We're blasting off. Oh, by the way, there's a giant purse with treasure in it next to the ship, and we never got it because we didn't need it. Just kind of cool to mention. Okay, so here I am, freely controlling this spaceship here. This is awesome. Just going up into the sky. Hey, here's my buddy, Shishki Babu. What's going on, man? He's still in the sky almost 2 hours later. Alrighty. He can't hurt you. That's just a little video effect. Okay, so that's Shishki Babu right there. And here we are going through some spinning booze bottles and some bongo drums. I'm thinking we got Duvrak coming up somewhere somehow. Alrighty. So that little empty to full tank over there is my health. And the more damage I take, there are just certain damage points where I will lose a member of my Royal Guard because they'll have to jump off of the spaceship at that point. So the idea is to take as little damage as possible going into that. Oh, you don't really know what's about to happen. I've been very cryptic so far about everything, but science is about to go out of the freaking window and the lore is going to pour in right now, too. Because science is out and weird stuff is in. That's all I can say. There's Long Sauvage just sort of chilling out in the sky. Where he belongs. Now, these trains are going to create damage for me. I'm going to take some damage there because I didn't go up in time. Not a big deal. You know, I think that's how that works, but famously, you know, I haven't been king for very long. It's only been about 2 hours and 41 minutes at this point, so, like, I haven't really started screwing around with whether or not I can control physics or not. So, unfortunately, there's just nothing I can do to make this go faster other than just mash A. Yeah, that's some Groove Rock stuff right there. Alrighty. So we get a little bit of a callback to some classic games here. Now, what's ironic is if I just sit in the bottom left corner here, they actually can't hurt me. They'll try. So, as fun as that could have been right there, they didn't account for the fact that if I just sat in the bottom left corner, it would be fine. And again, if I had played the game normally, a lot of these enemies we would have had interactions with, we would have, you know, had a little bit more of a healing portion here at the end, but that's pretty much here. Yeah. That is the mushroom I used to load some stuff back in that we needed to. Alright, and now this is like the scariest section of this whole thing, because this just gets to be a lot visually. Because there's a lot going on, and I have to mash through text in a second. Hey, come on, TV. My universe is on one side, and the other universe is on the other side. There we go. Okay, we're safe. So TV Dinner just kind of opens up a portal in the middle of the universe that sucks everything into it. So really, who is in charge here, me or TV Dinner? Nobody really knows the answer to that question. So there's the Jumbo Champloon written up in this cardboard cutout almost. There's Shishki Babu up there. And even there is my spaceship drawn out on the wall. There's Duvrock holding his bottle of alcohol, Shishki Babu, yet another spaceship? What is happening here? They're shooting down the planets with crayons, which is a sentence that I thought I would have to at least wait to the year 2033 to be saying. And through that little crack right there, let's see what's going on. Hey, here we go. We've escaped our universe. We're out of a cardboard box.
Difficult to leave cooldown for Rose. Busy us.
Con un estrecho gelatinador no. Con un estrecho gelatinador no.
So we just got to get through a little bit of text massing, a little bit of cutscenes, and we're going to be heading into our final boss. We still should be below estimate. I did factor in some pretty decent time, but like, we should be right there.
Difficult to leave cooldown for Rose. Busy us. Difficult to leave cooldown for Rose. Busy. Difficult to leave cooldown for Rose. Busy.
Okay, any day now. Alright, so weirdly enough, what advances the progression here is talking to the princess you chose to travel with you 8 times. I don't really know why. It's RNG, depending on what she says or does, to go along with other themes of this game. When she kisses you, that is the slowest outcome. So you want to avoid affection, you want to give sweets, and you don't want to talk. In relationship advice with tcbtrio183. Okay, so we're under attack right now as it's why the game scrolled to a halt. Cool. Hey, look! Jumbo Champlooon's head is under the bed. That's awesome. I'm starting to think that maybe Jumbo Champloon is responsible for all of this. AKA Jumbo Champloon. Alright. She dodges the pencil. Dodges the pencil, and she's like, you know what? This is okay. Looks scary. And then the rat gets her! Alright, now my kingdom is, my royal guard's a little bit more attentive to what just happened right there. They're a little bit freaked out, just like me. Hey, look, there's an Oni's head, too. Yeah, you're right. Here we go. No way back. Well, the only way back is to go right into our final boss. So that little sun on the floor right there is that thing that I told you spawns in the Eggen glitch world, but we can't figure out how to get it to do its stuff. Here it is. Just like about 2 hours and 50 minutes ago, I told you those rats at the beginning would be foreshadowing something. When they are standing atop of that box and shaking it, you can feel the earthquakes inside. And let me tell you something, that's a big rat.
Acertate 5 aves y las has hecho clase.
So Skinny Ray this whole time was right. Something has been going on. And it's that there's giant, ugly rats shaking this entire cardboard world. So just like so much of the Nutcracker music that we're just getting inundated with in this game, we're gonna face the Rat King at the end. Now, as far as this whole boss sequence goes, it happens in 5 phases. The first 3 phases, you're fighting each of the rats. I think it goes blue, yellow, red. Then you fight all 3 of the rats, then the Rat King at the end. The Rat King is a really bad fight, I will just say. It can be like 10 seconds, it can be like 10 minutes, and there's just very little way of knowing what's going to happen. So Liam, our anything minister, has been practicing his whistling this whole time to scare away the rats in the courtyard. And I guess he figured, if it works in the courtyard, why would it not work here? So as he whistles, the rats clearly don't like it. So Liam, who we never spoke to if we could avoid it, is actually the one who's stepping up and saving the day. Yeah, so there's also requests that you can do to pay Liam his salary, and he actually, if you pay him his salary, helps you during the fight. The problem is it's really, really slow to pay his salary, and it doesn't actually really help me that much, so I don't pay Liam, or Verde for that matter, because they're quite frankly not worth it. Alright, here we go. Final boss time. Final boss phase 1, we have the Blue Rat. The Blue Rat's main thing is their doppelganger attack, but they always have those agitated clouds going over their head if it's the real rat. Alrighty. Here we go. Our Little King versus Ratatouille 1. Hey. Oh, I think he just killed 2 of my guys. That's sad. Wait, are you serious? Okay. I just thought I was gonna miss him again and he would kill 2 more, but he didn't. Okay. So that's not good to lose 2 there, but it's really not the end of the world if you don't take massive amounts of damage. Ratatouille has turned evil. Yes, he has. Alright, so the yellow rat's main attack is its poop. See what happens. Alright, so we have our friend the Red Rat. His main thing is like WWE style takedowns, and we're going to try to just avoid him and take him out as best we can. I haven't taken a ton of damage so far, which is good. I mean, that can always change at any given moment, but like, that, I'm going to hope that it doesn't. Come on. There you go. So after he does his little attack there, then he goes into his frenzy, and we just want to avoid him while that happens? and let him just jump up onto the top there and do his little slam. And that should be that section there. Cool. All right.
Dying now.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, but like that doesn't happen outside of the blue rat fight and the final rat fight. So now the 3 rats are actually going to team up to try to take down the world once and for all. They're going to slam into the boxes. Now, you can only damage them once they get up to the box, so I try to give them space to get to the box unencumbered. Sometimes they cooperate with me, sometimes they don't. So far, so good with cooperation. Alright, so New Island always will sink, unfortunately. Sorry, New Island. Soba Manjaro will always erupt. So the yellow rat is the last rat that we have to kill. It will do its attack, then it should charge the thing. Cool. Come on. Come on. Buddy. Come on. You gotta charge the diorama here. Come on, end the world. Alrighty, finally. Okay. So, we've entered the Rat King in under 3 hours, so we'll see what happens here. This is not going to break 3 hours, by the way, guys, because this timing stops after the credits, so it's not sub 3. It's still not bad, though, considering all the deaths. So now, before the Rat King starts his battle, though, he's going to let you know he means business. He eats your wife. She's dead. Luckily, he also eats the little camera pod that Hauser and Skinny Ray and all those other guys can see out of, so we get to see Apricot digest in real time, which is just awesome. There she is. All just us versus Rat King at this point. Here we go. So when he does his WWE takedowns, he actually is not going to be able to be damaged, which is unfortunate. Whenever there's that little purple hue to his damage bar, he's invincible. We just have to be patient and wait for our opportunity, which we should be getting now. Didn't quite work. Why I was doing the Wii menu thing is you have to look at his eyes to know which one of those is the real Rat King at that point, and there's no other indication you have to work with, so it's difficult. You can usually get a little damage on him in this window. Unfortunately, because his general windows of damage are just so small, it's just very difficult to get him sometimes. He's doing a lot of his WWE slam to me, which I at least can do damage to him. It's just, this is the difference between like a good Rat King fight and a bad one is that he'll use the attacks I can hardly touch him on with a bad Rat King fight, as opposed to a good one, he'll be more focused on duplicating himself so I could do more damage to him. But we're getting him bit by bit. That should do it. There it is. Once he gives you the opening, you can get him. It's just, he doesn't give the opening very easily. Alright, guys. So, last but not least here. The Rat King is dead. He's not doing so well. Well, he's not dead, but he's dying. And all of a sudden, large Koribo stands up, grabs the rat, and just throws him out the window. But in that time, little Koribo can't believe his freaking eyes. You better break out the Super Scepter glitch right here. This is going to be a bad fight. Alright, guys, it has been an absolute pleasure closing off the really lots of lore marathon. This has been tcbtrio183. This is Little King Story any %. So, this is the end of the speedrun. What we actually will see with the timing, it stops at the end of the credits when just Finn appears on the screen, like the finished or whatever. And we actually get to see a little bit of the creators' alternate timelines for which princess they wanted to pair with which king. The ones that were paired up were not the ones they wanted. Right off the bat, the diagram opens and brings us in to this dreamy sequence. So, right off the bat, guys, I want to thank Chi495 first and foremost for kind of being the father of this speedrun and everything. While I was the first speedrunner to attempt this game, he was the first one to break it with that large Egan glitch, and it just kind of kept going from there. Thank you so much to Deadweight and the rest of the Little King Story general community that's not necessarily focused so much on speedrunning for helping me write a lot of the explanations that I used in explaining some of these glitches today, as I'm not really the most technically proficient person out there. Thank you to the really lots of lore community. It's been a very long time, actually, since I've run in one of your communities. In one of your marathons, going back to like 2021 when I ran Pikmin 251 All Treasures. So it's been a long time. I was appreciating given the opportunity, and this has been a lot of fun. It's nice to get to share this speedrun experience with other people. And although obviously there was a viewer here and there who may not have found this speedrun to be their thing, what I really personally like about this speedrun here is that there's room to breathe. You have cutscenes to help you reorient yourself and look stuff up. It's not just all balls to the wall all of the time. While there are some certainly crazy hard sections of it, it's very enjoyable. Outside of the Shishki Babu fight, there's not a single part of this game I dislike. I dislike that part of this game, I will be the first person to say that. So, as these credits wrap up right now, we're going to get a picture of the diorama, and the word FIN, Finn, will appear on the bottom of the screen. I'll say time when I see it, and we'll see. Be sub 305. That's always good. Time. 3:03:40. Nope, 3:03:46. My fault. Has a little bit of a stream delay. Alright. So I'm going to cut stream. Thank you all for watching. You've been amazing. My name's TCB Trio. Have a wonderful weekend.